So before we talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League, we gotta talk about Batman vs Superman, and of course, this is the Ultimate Edition. So I remember when this movie was coming out and I was insanely hyped for it. The trailers, I was more kind of a bit nervous for the movie because of the trailers had like put out a lot of stuff. I felt like you were really able to pinpoint exactly when stuff was going to happen and what was going to happen because of the trailers. For some reason they revealed Doomsday was going to be in it, even though everyone kind of assumed Doomsday was going to be in it. I just thought within the trailers it let on way too much of stuff that was going to happen within this movie. I bought like 4, maybe 5 different Batman vs Superman t-shirts. I was there opening weekend, and if I am honest with you, the very first time I saw it, I fell asleep in the movie. Now bear in mind, it was 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and a lot of this movie, if you watch the theatrical cut, there really isn't a lot of action. A lot of it is just people talking, people kind of getting ready for a fight, because in the theatrical cut, really a lot of it is just talking. So I did fall asleep, but then I went to see it a couple of days later, didn't love it. But then when the Ultimate Edition came out, I really have grown to love this movie. I think it's not as good as Man of Steel. I actually think it is a bit of a step down, where I gave Man of Steel 100%. I even said in my review, it is my favorite origin story for a superhero. I think Batman vs Superman is around an 80%. I think it's a solid movie. I think it's a solid superhero versus movie. I think Civil War did do a better movie overall, not just in that year. I think they just did a better versus movie. I think one of my favorite things about this movie is Ben Affleck's Batman. He is a fantastic Batman. I love him throughout. Like, going into this movie, I was a bit skeptical because like everyone was saying, I hadn't really seen Ben Affleck in anything at that stage. I think the only thing I seen Ben Affleck in was Good Will Hunting, and I didn't see anything else. All I knew was people were hating on him, saying, "Oh, he's gonna be a crap Batman." So going into it, I was thinking, "Is he gonna be a bad Batman?" I really didn't know, but I was blown away. I think he is a fantastic Batman. I feel like he understands Batman in a way that no one else understands Batman. I think he understands that Batman is the character. You're not playing Bruce Wayne. You are playing Batman, who Batman is putting on a fake persona of Bruce Wayne. I think just Ben Affleck, he understood that the most. I think his physical shape he got in for this movie is it's insane how great he looks. The suit in this movie is easily my favorite suit. Not the metal suit at the end, but the suit that he wears ordinary on an ordinary night going out fighting crime. That suit is fantastic. Jeremy Irons works brilliantly off Ben Affleck. I think the chemistry they both have, the back and forth where Alfred is kind of giving out to Batman a lot, kind of under his breath, kind of insulting him, all that works really well. But you got Batman. What do you think of Superman? Superman, for me, even though his name is literally in the title of this movie, I feel like he's very much a side character. He doesn't really get as much to do as Batman does. He really sidelined a lot in this movie, which I really wasn't expecting. I was going into it being really expecting it to be more of a Man of Steel 2 rather than a big kind of setup movie, which this movie really is a setup movie. Even though I think Henry Cavill's great in what they give him, they really just don't give Henry Cavill a lot to do in this movie. But as I said, this is very much a setup movie to what's coming down later down the road. And the setup to Justice League, to say the least, is just laughable. Giving all our characters origin stories through mail is just completely baffling. Who thought that was a good idea? That feels like they really need to kind of read over that script a little bit more and give a little bit more detail to that. In the movie, we do see a little bit of a football match. Maybe if they were actually going to include Cyborg in the match, or maybe just give him a name drop saying whatever actually his character's, the actual Cyborg's human name was. I actually can't remember his name. But whatever his name is, maybe they could have given that a name drop saying he has died and his father is now, here's his father or whatever. They could have done something better there. Wonder Woman, I think what they did with Wonder Woman was good, that she was trying to get all her files and all her memories and all her information back from Lex Luthor. I can't think of anything better for Flash and Aquaman, but it's not really my job to do that. But I really think what they set up in this movie was just so, it was so not inspirational, it was so lazy. It's the best word to say it. It was a lazy way of setting up the Justice League, and I don't know whose idea that was, but whoever it was, do better next time. And if you want to talk about other people within this movie, you got the villains. I think Doomsday is a horrible looking design. Horrible. That's another one that they should have taken it back to the drawing board and completely redesigned him, because he looks absolutely horrible in this movie. He just looks like a horrible creature, mutant looking creature. Looks absolutely terrible. As well, you do have Lex Luthor, who is, I actually don't even want to call him Lex Luthor, because he really is not Lex Luthor. I think the design of him is, to say the least, not the design of him, I mean the design of his character is laughable as well. I don't understand why he was designed this way. I don't think Jesse Eisenberg was at all a good choice for him. I think the character, he feels like he's been ripped out of a cartoon and he's been thrown into this world. And even in a cartoon, I feel he'd be too cartoonish. I think he doesn't feel like Lex Luthor at all. I think he's clearly insane. Like, he feeds a man food straight from his hand. He's so insane to the knowledge that I would say, how do people trust him? How do people deal with him? And even the best question you can ask is, how does this man run a business? Even he goes up to a speech, and I feel like when he goes up to a speech and he gives a speech, that's clearly not the first time he has a breakdown giving a speech. I feel like the scene should have played out as they say, "Thank you, Lex Luthor," and then he comes up to give a speech. You're like, no, 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 it's okay, you don't have to do a speech. And then he just keeps insisting on doing the speech. I think that would have played out a bit better, because I feel like that's not the first time he's going to have a breakdown giving a speech. So I think just letting him, welcome him up to give him a speech, I thought was a weird choice, because obviously that's where that was going to end up. But the final battle with Batman versus Superman, I feel, was very one-sided. I feel like Batman really destroyed him. I feel like if the whole Save Martha scene didn't come up, I think Batman would have ended up killing him. And the Save Martha scene, I've never really had a problem with. A lot of people see it as, oh my god, our mothers have the same name, I'm not going to kill you. But I've always seen it as Save Martha, and then Batman realizes, oh my god, this guy has a mother. He's just as human as me. He's got a human mother. That's the way I've always thought about it. Maybe that's not the intention. Maybe it was intended a different way. But for the first time I saw it, that's always the way I always intended that scene to be around. And if that's the way it was intended, maybe he could have said, oh my god, they've got my mother, please help me save my mother, rather than save Martha. That really just kind of leaves it very ambiguous. I think maybe if he just went straight on the head and said, help me save my mother, it might have played out a bit differently. But the big final battle between Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, all fighting Doomsday, is it's okay. It's not as good as Man of Steel. I wouldn't say it's in the top 10, not even the top 15 of final battles within comic book movies. It's good to see all three of them fighting together, but I really don't see why Superman had to die there. We know that obviously Wonder Woman could have clearly have come in there and killed Doomsday, because she's very close to the level of power of Superman, and that comes down to what we see in Wonder Woman 1984 as well as the first Wonder Woman. And that's the problem with giving her a prequel, two prequels, because now we know that because of Wonder Woman 1984 she is well able to fly, so she could have easily flown in and killed him. So that kind of gives a problem with having the prequel movie taking place before this, so that now that we look at stuff that happened in this movie, if you look back at the other movies, it doesn't really work within the time frame of this movie. So when it comes down to it with this movie, I don't go back and watch it as much as I do a Man of Steel. I'll go back and watch Man of Steel at least once a year, if not twice a year. With Batman vs Superman, I could go maybe a year or maybe even 2 years without watching it. Ever since it came out on Blu-ray, I have seen it, I'd say in total 5 times. I never really go back and watch it as much as the Man of Steel. As I said, I just think it's very long. I don't get as much enjoyment with this movie as I do with Man of Steel, so I don't go back to it as much. But I do have a lot of fun with this movie when I do watch it, and as you know, I give my positives, give my negatives. I do enjoy this movie overall. I'd say it's around a 75, maybe an 80%, where I gave the other one, like I said, Man of Steel is my favourite superhero origin story of all time. I do think this is a solid continuation. I think it could have been better, there could have been worse though. I'm kind of hoping Zack Snyder's Justice League movie is just as good as this one, if not better. I don't think it's going to be as good as Man of Steel. I'd be quite shocked if I liked Justice League as much as I like Man of Steel, but hopefully I could be proven wrong and I will be loving this movie. I'm hoping I like it. I really hope I like it. As I said with my original thoughts on the original movie, I think it's okay. It does have some fun to it, but overall I think it's a disgusting mess. And when you hear, when you take the movie on its own, I think it's just a sloppy mess. But when you hear the background story, when you hear the stuff that happened behind the scenes, you really do think it's a disgusting movie, and it makes me not want to go back and watch it because of how disgusting the behind the scenes kind of stuff that happened behind the scenes. So hopefully Zack Snyder's version is a lot better. I would love to see a continuation of this universe. I never think it's going to happen. I'd be shocked if we got a continuation of this universe, but who knows, hopefully one day we will get a continuation. But if you want to hear my thoughts on Zack Snyder's Justice League, make sure you click that subscribe button so you can come back and hear my review on that movie, as well as Falcon and the Winter Soldier. All that will be dropping on the channel very soon. So if you want to hear all my takes on all of those movies and TV series, click that subscribe button. And as always, thanks for watching.